We're here with Dr. Jonathan Tarbox, who is the director of, every time we come back, I'm at a loss for words. Tell them exactly what you do, since I'm at a loss for words.
No problem. Director of Research and Development at the Center for Autism and Related Disorders, and I'm the Executive Director of Autism Research Group, which is an independent nonprofit research institute.
And we should pause for a second to say that the Autism Research Group, that you're always looking for parents' opinions on things,
on
right?
Research, yeah. A lot of our research that we do at ARG is generated from ideas that parents have. So it's directly addressing topics and ideas that are of the biggest concern to parents. And they can go to our website, www.autismresearchgroup.org, and take a survey to actually tell us what kind of research they think matters.
So important. I think that's such a service that you guys are doing. So if you want to participate in that, you certainly can. We were saying before the break that our topic all this week has been maintaining progress. It's so important that we make progress and that we're constantly creating progress, but once we get there, that we maintain it. Because for a lot of us, we see our kids can gain a skill, but if we don't stay on it in a certain respect, it can diminish or go away, and then we have to go back and pick it back up again. I always say it's hard for me to know as a parent, because I hover too much, helicopter parent, but it seems like a fine line to me. So we've been asking experts all this week, tell us about maintaining progress from your point of view.
Okay, sure. So first of all, it's important to sort of understand, I think, I don't know if correctly is the right word, but to have a good understanding for what maintenance really means. And the other side of that coin is what mastery really means. And both of those both of those concepts are based on what you sort of believe constitutes being done with something, okay? So for example, when you first teach, whatever skill, I'll think of a real simple example, colors. In discrete trial training, you're not done. Even if your child mastered the colors, so they know all their colors in discrete trial training perfectly, receptively, and expressively, you're nowhere near done. That's like, getting good at doing free throws, great, but now can you actually make shots when you're playing basketball, okay?
Right.
So then that's just the beginning. And then what you need to work on is generalization to the child's natural environment. And that's where NET plays such an important role. So you immediately, when you don't wait months until they've mastered everything in DTT, you immediately start incorporating generalization activities with natural environment training to where you're making sure, the question that you're asking is, when my child needs to use those skills that we taught, in the course of his or her natural life, everyday life, are they able to do it? And so you need to, and your provider, your treatment provider, needs to arrange opportunities to test for generalization. And the reason why I'm talking about generalization, even though we're talking about maintenance, is because a skill isn't mastered, quote unquote, until it's really generalized into the child's everyday environment, okay? And that's something that a lot of lower quality ABA providers will kind of forget about, that mastery criteria is 80% correct across 2 days in discrete trial training. Well, no. Mastery means the kid can actually do it in their everyday life. So you directly assess that. So, let's say you've, mastered all the colors. Well, now you stick the kid in a situation where they can't function successfully unless they're able to receptively or expressively use the words for colors. And if they can, great, awesome. Okay, now at that point, it's an issue of maintenance, and it's an issue of, okay, will he continue to be able to do that in the future? Okay, and so once you've demonstrated generalization and the child's able to do the newly learned skills in the everyday course of the normal life, at that point the ABA provider starts to say, okay, great, now we can focus on other content, right? We're more or less done with that. Good ABA programs will still follow up with all of that, though. They'll be thinking backwards a year. What are the last 1,000 things that we've taught this kid? And how can we make sure that all 1,000 of those are still happening when they need to? And when new lessons build on the old lessons. So let's say he's learned, one word, utterances for colors, great, but now what? How about 2-word utterances? Or how about, describing 2 colors of an object instead of just 1? Or how about, and hitting all the different verbal operands. So asking for something by color, receptively identifying something by color. Independently tacting or just commenting on colors in the course of your natural life, not when someone's asked you to do it, but just when you see something green, you say, look, it's green. All these different ways of using that same skill or concept. And so, but here's a tip that you can do as a parent and that your listeners can do as parents is, The way I like to think about it in general ABA perspective is, if the person's awake and they're alive, it's a learning opportunity, right? So if you know that your child learned something, it's an opportunity to practice that and make sure that they maintain it. And it's not that you're drilling it into him so that he learns it more. It's just you can double check that he still knows.
Right.
So if you know he learned his colors, next time he wants something, don't just give it to him. Ask him, great, which color do you want?
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And just when you're hanging out having fun, talk about colors and get him to talk about colors. And of course, there's nothing special about colors. This goes for everything that your child learns. And as part of their treatment program, anytime you're hanging out with your kid and they're awake and they're alive, that's an opportunity to practice the stuff they learned. And so it's kind of stressful for parents, right? That basically means you kind of never get to relax, right? It doesn't mean you should act stressed out. You should have fun with your kids. But there's no reason why you can't practice stuff and make sure that they're maintaining stuff that they learned while you're having fun.
Yeah. I think that that's key. You said so many things that I want to touch on, but I think that that's really key, is to make it fun for them and fun for us.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that I want to throw in there, it doesn't mean that you can never take a break, because occasionally you can take a break, because one of the skills that we're teaching is independent play. So them playing for a few minutes, independent play, that's a teaching moment too. Them playing by themselves.
And thank you for clarifying that. Let me point out, I don't mean you should be on top of your kid all the time. In fact, that's bad for generalization, and that's bad for maintenance. Okay? What I mean is, you should be thinking about all the time, is this an opportunity for my child to practice X? Or actually, not is it, it is an opportunity. So it's what skill is this an opportunity to practice or maintain? And if the skill that your child just learned is doing homework by themselves, don't get in their face. Let them do it by themselves. And if they succeed, reinforce it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But I going back to what you were saying about that every moment is a learning opportunity, and sometimes it's the moments that you least expect. And if we're proactive, let's say that you're driving in the car someplace, or you're standing in line at the grocery store, and it's one of those moments where you could shut down. And look, I'm queen of that. I like to fuzz out, just like being like, white noise land, right? But what happens when we go to that place is that our child needs something to do and they can get active in something. If we stay plugged in with them, what we were talking about earlier, and find something in the environment to be a teaching moment, what we do is head off potential problems, potential challenging behavior, potential meltdowns. It's amazing how it turns the moment around, and it gives us an opportunity to connect with our kids. And I think when we do, we always feel better.
That's right.
I love an opportunity to fuzz out, but when I connect with my kid, it's powerful. It's powerful. And it doesn't have to be this big contrived thing where we have to get out arts and crafts projects and stuff. It literally can be the thing that happens in the grocery store aisle while you're waiting to go to the checkout.
Absolutely.
Those moments, think about the moments when you have the most challenging behavior. Sometimes if you get to the teaching moment before that happens, turns it around.
That's right.
Maintaining progress. It's a thing that's
very important.
It's a very, very important. But what I also heard you say was that you guys think back over the last year and what 1,000, did you hear him say that? What 1,000 skills? And
that's actually a pretty conservative estimate. It might be more like 2,000 or 3,000. I mean, depending on how many hours a week the kid has, and how long you've been, and how fast they learn. It could be several thousand things.
That chokes me up, and I want to hug you because, no, honestly, because when you're on this path and starting it and thinking how overwhelming it is, and you just toss out that number, all the thousands of things, it really reminds us how hopeful we should be.
And that's not a special outcome. Learning thousands of things over the course of a year is a normal outcome for children with autism that are in a top quality treatment program. That's expected. That's not special.
I'm so glad you're here and watching this, because we should all be expecting progress.
That's right.
This is where we should be, and certainly as we make this move into insurance, being covered by insurance is going to be expecting it too. Let's all get into the headset of expecting progress and maintaining it.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.